Good Thursday evening, and welcome back to PreciseAlgorithmTrading.com. It is July 13th, 2023. Having some technical difficulties with the automated trading system just to be able to pull down the data for you guys tonight. So I'm going to skip it, and we can catch up over the weekend. Suffice it to say, well, I guess some were up and some were down today, and the long-term trends are just fine. Um, Nothing really to write home about there. I'd love to get all that going up and going here all at the same time again for a while, but just got to be patient in the meantime. So the S&P 500 today went up 37 points, 0.85%. The Dow went up 47 points, 0.14%. Uh, the Russell went up 0.81%, even though it zeroed out here. The Nasdaq went up by 1.58%, which is just amazing that the Nasdaq keeps power and higher. So, um, it is what it is. It sure seems like it's going to run out of steam one of these days, but not yet. So, um, however, I am starting to put on some plays that have a little time in them for when that does happen, that I can take advantage of the downside, even if it's just a short-term blip to the downside. So, just a few trades with very little risk. And anyways, let's look at the actual price action, because the SPX actually is pulled up here. It's gone past its 52-week high at this point, and we actually have new green arrows, and that's a new green bar. So, um, although we had a green bar back here when it broke, and then it pulled back into red. But we got green here, we got green there. It's green almost pretty much across the board and on the weekly as well. So I almost think, of course, as soon as I say this, tomorrow seems like it's got to be a lock for higher prices, because I've called this out before. This is the Dow, and the Dow is the one that needs to catch up, and it is right now in I would call this triple top territory, and it's turned green again too today, even though it didn't move very much. We have upside targets. We got green, green, and green. Is that green? The True Momo is not green, um, but it is on the across the board on the weekly charts, and it just seems to me like this should be a breakout area here. Um, and maybe it won't be very. It'll run up here to the 52-week highs maybe before it's pulled back. But we're also going into a Friday, so anything could happen. But if everybody's just really bullish these days, that could push us into this 52-week high. Yeah. Where are we going from there? So the price action on the Russell, that is power and higher, and that's one of these zones that I'm talking about. That was looking like a triple top just 3 days ago, 4 days ago. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it broke through. So if the Dow follows through like the rest of them have, I'd say that's in the cards. And you can see the Nasdaq did the same. I mean, a little bit more with like an up sloping triangle pattern or pennant pattern, whatever you want to call that, uh, and it broke through in the same kind of fashion. So, and at this point, if you weren't following trends the way we're doing it, I'm telling you, I've been doing this almost 20 years. There was a point in time where this move right here would have frustrated the crap out of me, because it's going on and on and on. You get a pullback, and then it starts to pull back up, and it just continues. And that is awesome if you're on the right side of it. It's pretty terrible if you're not. Oil, power and higher. So let's see if our well, again, this thing's got to finish up here above um, the gold line at the end of the month. It can't just blip up here and pull back. It's got to close up there. So we'll see how that goes. The transports, and again, I've been talking about this about the bullish percent indexes actually pulled back today. So a little bit. And this is one of those plays where I'm talking about taking advantage. Hope I'm not showing anything here that's proprietary. I don't think so. This is the Analyze tab in Thinkorswim, and I literally have a play on here where it's $1,222 to the losing side if it would happen to settle over here on the right hand side, and it's $1,048. I'm sorry, $1,278 if it closes here on the left hand side. And the trick here is I don't even care if it doesn't get all that. I'm going to sell that if it gets half of that. And all we need to do really is get this thing to pull down into that zone. So that's IYT getting on, let's call it 253 to 250. And if we look at that on a chart, that's into the zone right here, 253 to 250. So all it needs to do is come down a little bit, and we'd get profitable on that, and that would be fun because I've basically got it set up as an automatic trade right now that's either going to win or lose, and that's my risk tolerance, and that's how that works. And so there you go. So I am playing a little bit of defense right now. I'd call that a defensive move, since this stuff is all just power and higher, and just expecting at one of these minutes here, and it's a lot to do with we're overbought, we're up here, we've been pushing higher into these standard deviation moves, these lines, and it's really, I can take relative, it's a one-to-one risk. So there's more to that, but that's pretty much it. So bonds, they had that giant pullback into a zone, and now they've created, this is the kind of move that, you're gonna, if it comes back up in here into this upward sloping trend line, that could be the end of it, or we could come up into this zone up here, pull down, pull back up again, and that would be an inverted head and shoulders potential pattern there. That's what bonds are doing, and that's enough. Let's move over to stockcharts.com, look at the bullish percent indexes, and leave it for tonight. The industrials didn't move today. The NYA tacked on a new X. The transports way up here in the nosebleed section. It's part of the reason why I would take a trade that is going to take advantage if this thing rolls over. From 100% of the stocks in the transportation index are on a point and figure buy signal. That's the transports again. The Nasdaq tacked on a new X today, went up 2.31%. The SPX tacked on a new X, up 2.96%. The OEX tacked on two new X's today, and they're up against resistance, even pushing it a little bit, and it's up 6.25%. All we need is two more X's, and we will be on a point and figure buy signal, which we haven't seen, well, since the beginning of the year, apparently. And then the NDX, that's off to the races again. So there you go. Two X's, two new X's, and up 6.85%. So we'll just keep following this and see what the markets do and just try to hold on and ride the wave. Take care, guys. Good trading and have a great night.